Hello, welcome to another video. If this video seems like it just looks a little different with lighting or the angle, lots of different stuff, it's mainly because I had to makeshift do this setup right before. So I have a light just hanging over my monitor right now to try and get the lighting somewhat better. By getting that out of the way, I have a confession. I am a closet WWE fan. I know. That might sound crazy. You might be like, oh, don't you know it's fake? Aren't you a little old? All this weird shit. And my thought is, I understand it's completely fake. Look past that. Look at the characters, storylines. I find it entertaining. The actual wrestling part is what it is. It's more the storylines, which kind of draw me in. And to be honest, this year leading up to like this year's WrestleMania was the thing I was like, I'm getting back into this because I haven't watched it in years and years and years. Getting that out of the way that I'm now again a WWE fan, I just binge watched the entire Netflix documentary series of Vince McMahon or Mr. McMahon, whatever goddamn persona you want to really say. And I just want to say is that it is so goddamn captivating and crazy all in one, and it is a amazing watch. If you even have some sort of fan or wherever a fan of the WWE. And I like to think that especially a boy, a guy, if you're whatever age group, you have probably came across the WWE at least once in your life. Maybe not watched a live show, watched it on a Monday or Friday. You've definitely seen clips on Twitter and stuff, I'd assume, just from memes and whatnot. It is a show that produces hilarious memes randomly. It's great. And to be fair, Mr. McMahon has produced a lot. He is very charismatic, very problematic as well. If you didn't know, he's out of the company completely now. And the series, I think, does a very good job of just kind of showing the timeline of his career in the WWE. There was a one executive at the end that said, you don't really show the human side of him kind of thing. And I realistically, after watching it all, seeing everything, hearing the other people talk about him, how it was kind of like this fatherly figure type of situation, it does make it feel like Vince McMahon is the ultimate person of wrestling, where who you are as a person in real life, real reality, just over time, because he's been there for however long and created it and everything, props for growing the business, doesn't mean it's okay to be a piece of shit person, whatever. But it seems like that, with his character that he developed and turned into this absolute fucking deviant, sex deviant, real life and not in real life, it seems like, merged into one goddamn entity. It's not like one consumed the other one. It's like two just merged into together, and he became Mr. Vince McMahon all of a sudden. That's just what it seemed like after watching it. It seemed like he's done lots of bad. Or allegedly. I'm sorry. He's allegedly done a lot of bad things throughout his entire career. He had lawsuits in the 80s. He had lawsuits in the 90s. He had lawsuits in the 2000s. Don't know the 2010s, actually. That might have been a good decade for him for lawsuits. And the 2020s... He got his final Stone Cold Stunner, and it put him down. Not really. He's not dead. I know he faked his death. That's hilarious. But these last ones really nail in the coffin. They're fucking bad. Not coming back from it. But it seemed like early stage, when he wasn't necessarily on TV and he wasn't this heel that he turned into in the 90s and in the 80s and 90s more so, it was like he knew that the brand wasn't the world giant thing. It talked about him growing the company and how ruthless he was, and he definitely, just from a personality, he was definitely obsessed with achieving goals and wanting more and looking to achieve the next challenge, all this kind of stuff, which might be some of his problems in real life as well, who knows. But it seemed like early stage, it was he had a shitty coming up. He wanted to build something amazing. He wanted to make his dad proud, even after the fact of his dad passing away and stuff. It just seemed like he was purely determined to make the WWF a big thing and the thing. and he didn't give a shit what he had to do to get there. And I think that was a lot of the looking past a lot of the issues that were happening in the 80s with steroids, with his wrestlers and stuff, with the women that worked there, everything like that, all the alleged sexual assault kind of stuff that happened under his umbrella of the WWF and being accused of covering up and stuff. It seemed like his thoughts there was simply, fuck it, this isn't ruining the business. I'm making sure the business becomes big. And then slowly over time, when he turned into the heel character and became like a sex deviant just on TV, didn't give a shit, oh well, somehow it just, the 2000s were crazy, obviously. It seemed like that persona and everything slowly made it, like, it's almost like, because a lot of the wrestlers say like they're at their best when they're themselves in the ring, but they're like the most of themselves. You know, they don't hold back anything. They're fully genuine and just saying fuck it. You know, they're putting it to the max. And it feels like Mr. McMahon suppressed himself, like suppressed certain things. And then when he was on TV, was a heel, was a sex deviant, a menace. And he got the pop, he got the heat that he always wanted, and it grew the company, all this. It definitely feels like part of like real life Mr. McMahon had some mental shift where it felt like he could always do that, where it blended his world, like reality of what's real and what's WWE into just, it's all one thing, where he could do whatever the fuck he wanted. Nothing's gonna happen to him because it's WWE, you know? That's what it seems like. That's no excuse. He does not get a pass for anything he did. Everything he's alleged to do, pretty terrible, obviously. But it just seemed like that was like the big switch up. And there are stories in there which are pretty fucked up. They also talked about the Chris Benoit situation, which was bad. They talked about my you know, pride and joy nation Canada, Bret Hart getting screwed. Talked about that. Talked about his brother, super sad and everything. Like, you knew from the outside, just hearing the shit now, that like obviously something was festering not good over the years. And then watching the series where it's like they actually talk about the certain stuff and everything like that. Pretty goddamn appalling, eye-opening, obviously. Does it make me feel weird being a WWE fan? Not necessarily. I personally was way too, like, I never watched the full like 2000s Attitude craziness where it was like the one chick with the handprints over her, like I was not around time. I was pretty much young and watched it when it started turning into like PG. But it was crazy, some of the stories and like the creative decisions that they did and didn't do and just said they didn't do, which the only one I'm going to really spoil that I thought was fucking crazy was they have an interview with Stephanie McMahon, his daughter. And she's like, yeah, there's something that people said no to that I'm not saying here. Don't know if this is the same thing, but good editing, if it isn't. Cuts right to Vince McMahon and he explains that there was a pitch that he had that Stephanie was pregnant. Not really, I'm assuming. And that somehow it would be the character Mr. McMahon's child. What? That's so fucked. I don't understand. Like, no, he acted too as if he's the one that brought up the idea, which is so fucked up. That was by far. I saw that, wrote it down on my phone because I was like, I have to at least bring this up once making a video about it because it is fucking crazy. Oh my god, that was crazy. But near the end and everything, the series goes through the takeover or the merger with TKO, the succession with Shane McMahon, who I love. I've always loved Shane McMahon, and Triple H, stuff like that, which was interesting as well. But it was very interesting to see the history of WWE with Vince McMahon, how it grew, everything they did to grow it, all the bad shit along the way. The one guy said this was kind of like a slam piece on Mr. McMahon. No, I don't think this is purely slam piece. Obviously, it's talking a lot of the bad things that has occurred. But when there's that many different lawsuits and fucking issues that happen throughout your one career and you're in like the public eye, what do you expect, honestly, at that point? But I just finished it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. If you have any sort of connection to WWE, I feel like you have to watch it. It's on Netflix, 6 episodes. It's not that long. And if you've never watched WWE, never cared about it, honestly, I think it'd be fun for you to just watch it, to just see how batshit crazy some of the shit is, and maybe be thankful you had never anything to do with it. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Consider leaving a comment, your thoughts on the whole Netflix series and the fucking craziness behind the show and the stories. And consider subscribing. I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.